Okay, folks, the way I designed these saddles is what I learned from the mule. I have soared more mules, I have crippled more mules, I have killed more mules than you can ever want to imagine. So I learned every time I took a different mule out to ride, it didn't make any difference whether I was riding my own or whether I was punching cows or people bring me animals to train. The hundreds of mules that I've trained and worked with over the years, I learned from each one of them. The bone structure on these animals comes from the daddy, the donkey. And it's extremely important that we understand there's going to be certain pressure points that's going to create problems. So if you notice the back of my saddle, it's open here. Open. Notice I have latigos all the way around so that I can evenly distribute the cinch. Plus, on top of that, I don't have to worry about pulling up on it and jerking it and making them sore. So notice this saddle somebody's taken my saddle and changed it. This is an older cowboy. Notice how the back end is closed up and they put a crupper ring. I've never put a crupper rings on any of my saddles. Now here's the downside. Notice underneath here how it's been sewed up. So that's going to rub on the spine. And we've got a couple different mules here I want to show you. You'll be able to see what it does. Notice they also put billets on the right side and the left side. The problem with a billet is you have to really pull to try to get it up to that next notch. Well, then you teach your animal how to blow air in his lungs. You go down the trail and they're trying to get comfortable and they finally let loose, and now your saddle is going to be even looser. So you see one of the reasons that I did the back of this and how this is open is so that it does not put pressure upon that spine. Don't change the design. Everything here is meant to be able to keep the animal comfortable. That's really, really important. Pulling collars. Every time the mule shoulder hits that thing, it brings the saddle forward. You see that? See how it's creeping forward? This pulling collar is actually, the way they're designed, is actually supposed to go on each side like this. Fine for a horse, no good on a mule. Because what happens is it brings the saddle forward. The pulling collar is very popular, but there again with the mule. So as the mule moves, and every time his shoulder hits it, it brings the saddle forward. You see that? See it coming forward? Then pretty soon this breast collar is sticking way out, and it's not doing you any good. Does that make sense to you? So pulling collars is working against your mule all the time. Notice also, they put a billet here rather than a latigo. You want your latigos because it's like two pulleys. It makes it really nice and easy. Pull up the cinch. Doesn't teach them all they're trying to do is protect themselves, but doesn't teach them the bad habit of blowing air in their lungs. Slow and easy. Saddle in 4 stages. So again, somebody's taken my saddle and they've turned it into a horse saddle rather than a mule saddle. These are billets. 1 strap. It makes it easy on the rider because he only has to adjust one side. But is it really easier on the mule? Or is it really easier on keeping the saddle into place? Because if this cinch ends up longer on one side than the other, then it's going to end up pulling the saddle over the opposite way of where it's going to be longer and not shorter. So notice I don't have any billets on my saddle. I use nylon. Oh, but Steve, nylon isn't very cowboy. I want leather, all right? Think about leather. If you've ever been like me and had a couple wrecks, and right where every bend is, every bend, there's a possibility of leather cracking. And when it cracks, then what? It cracks, then you're going to have a break. And this keeps the saddle into place. And when one of these breaks, it's a mess. Nylon, it's slick. You get it wet, it makes it smooth. Man, you can tighten it right up in a rainstorm. Leather, what happens? It binds up, right? It binds when I'm trying to pull it. So now what am I doing? I'm teaching my animal a bad habit of blowing air into his lungs. He's just trying to protect himself, but I'm teaching the bad habit of blowing air into his lungs when I can just do this right here, smooth and easy. So that's why I use nylon over leather. Again, if you make changes in the saddle, it's going to make changes in the attitude of the mule. It's going to make changes also, which is the big thing, it's going to make changes in his physical body as well. Everything here is what I designed from the mule. Even the mule head that I have on here is my wife's mule.
Is it coming loose?
You have to work on, get some pliers to pull that out. Oh, there you go.
Brett's got it all. What do I do with that bottle of water? Put it down someplace again.
It's got mine in the shade.
Yep. I'll get another. I do rehab.
As long as there's no pressure point there, I guess we keep that, right?
Well, yeah, well.
Screwed into this to the 2 screws in the bottom of
Take the screws loose, spread the skirt out.
Well, the skirt's not screwed. It's the ring.
Oh, the
that's
ring?
screwed.
Yeah, okay. Because you see, this should be wider apart. So what they've done is they've moved the skirt out. At least you got that off of there. That's going to help a lot. Of course, with Brent's new saddle, he ain't going to have to worry about it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't have that
Yeah,
bolt.
yeah, but it's not the flexing so much as this gap.
Okay.
I originally designed the double ring in case I had a short couple mule. I thought I had to go back to 3/4. But the problem with that was when you went back to 3/4, it made the saddle go forward that much more. So I got to where I rarely used the 3/4 ring. I mainly only used 7/8. So now you'll see on my new saddles that I only have one ring, and it's not really 7/8. It's kind of between full and 7/8, kind of right in between those. You notice how close my rear D ring is, so it's on the sweet spot of the belly, too. That's really important.
So if we have a latigo on here, would we put it on this side?
Yes.
And can we run the second loop through there?
You can do that.
It's
yes.
okay to separate the second loop of the latigo through
No,
there.
yeah, you can do that, but you also
Back.
want your D ring, your quarter strap coming off of this one here too, as well.
Okay.
But what you don't want to do is a lot of people will go back here first and then up here in the front. You don't want to do that because then it makes the saddle go forward.
Attach the latigo up front.
Only in the front.
And it's okay to run your second loop of the latigo through there.
Yes, sir.
And then back down.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, this saddle's about 20 years old.